Right, so I've got this Crate V5 combo that I won in a Goodwill auction recently. It arrived late last night. It was listed as for parts or repair, so I expect there to be one of a few problems. I know this is a 12AX7 EL84 tube combo, so the tubes could be bad. That's a simple thing. I've got those laying around. If the tubes are good, there could be something as simple as the fuse being blown. That's an easy replacement. I know that there's been some work done in here already. There's what sounds like, there's a washer or something rolling around in here. So I know it's been taken apart. There's also, this is not the original speaker that came in this. This is what looks like something out of a car. So I'm going to start tearing this thing apart and seeing what is working and what is not. All right, so I have my test speaker hooked up. I gave it a test with the battery to make sure that it is connected. I've got the amp hooked up to that. Don't know the nature of that plug. I've got it plugged into the dim bulb tester. So I can see I've got power there and bulb is not coming on. I can turn on or cycle the power. No changes there. Also no indication on the LED. Whoa, something's hot. So the EL84, that tube is warm. 12AX7, a little bit warm. Okay, I can see the filaments in there. Okay, so I've got power coming into the thing, but no sound. Wonder why that is not on. Okay, so it could be the plate is not good. Could be a wiring issue with that, but I don't have a short. All right, I hooked up a guitar cable to this. I thought I heard some buzz coming out of the speaker, but I wasn't sure. But listen to this. So this is a working amp is what that tells me. And I don't understand why it would be listed as for parts or repair. The only thing so far that doesn't seem to be working is that indicator light, which if that's the case, that's a ridiculously simple repair. All right, let's hook up a guitar to it real quick. Tone control doesn't make much sense. That's all the way up. I don't understand it. And it doesn't seem that loud. Certainly doesn't seem as loud as 5 watts would promise. Well, there's nothing obvious that looks wrong just looking in here. I don't see anything that's burned out. There's one good thing though. The LED is one of these easy to replace types. I'm going to test that out first. Got my voltmeter hooked up here. Ground this guy 6.3, 6.4. All right, so that's got some DC voltage on it. So that tells me that the indicator is definitely dead. Well, the offending light has been removed. And I say light because it appears to be an actual incandescent light bulb. I'm kind of surprised. I would have expected either a neon bulb or an LED in this day and age. I understand that this amp may be 15 years old or more, but I did not expect that. I was able to remove this metal sheath here that the light bulb fits into, and now, of course, that I know, this light could be removed and replaced and then just shoved back in here. All right, I am going to see about fixing the power on indicator. This is what I would call a rice lamp. It is a little incandescent bulb, which the filament has burned out. You can see the scorch on the glass there. I tested the power coming out of the jack in here, which is right here, and I looked on the schematic, and this is actually connected between the ground and the lower voltage rail. So this is way more of an explanation than one I need to give. So this thing plugs in to the circuit board. I've got red and black, and red typically would be for a positive power connection, and black would be ground. And it is correct that the black wire does connect to the ground in this connection, but the power is negative. I think I measured it about between negative 12 and negative 16. So when I change this thing over into an LED, I need to be aware that I wrote this note here on the thing. I need to be aware that this should be considered as positive, negative, like a negative 12 and positive being ground. Be all that as it may. So I have this LED. I rescued this out of a vacuum cleaner, and this is a white LED. What I'm going to do, my plan, is I'm going to replace the light bulb with that white LED, and that whole assembly will fit back into here. So the white LED will be behind that, and then I can just put this thing back in the chassis. I'm using this heat shrink not to separate the connections from each other. I'm doing this to separate the leads from this external collar. So that is going to go in there. I'm going to plug this guy back into the circuit board and see if it works. Plug this guy back in. You can see that. Plug back in. Red wire on this side, which says negative, and black wire on the left, which says positive, and I have the LED in there reverse biased, so it should be okay. Now I'm going to turn it on. Magic has happened. There is a resistor in that path, so it is preventing it from getting overpowered. Okay, it is still working. As I was playing it, it seemed to turn off, but it is still on. Wonder if just the vibration, since I am playing it all the way up, I wonder if it backed out of the thing a little bit. Interesting. All right, mystery solved with the come and go indicator light R22, which is supposed to limit the current to the display lamp. Half watt, 58, 68. 8.5. Apparently that is not a big enough resistor for that LED because it overheated and burned out, which would explain why It came on really nice and bright at first, but for the first time ever, the LED didn't burn out and the resistor did. So I put my 2K resistor back in here, and I can hook that up to a battery, and the LED comes on. So the LED is working fine. The resistor on the board has burned out from too much current. So I'm going to have to up that resistor, another 1/2 watt resistor, a larger value than what it was. A very odd thing to burn out on this thing. All right, with a little bit of convincing from a pair of forceps, I was able to yank that bad boy out. So now I have an empty space for R22. There. Struggles with the camera aside, trying to work around and close up. That is about the beefiest resistor for an LED I have ever seen. A 4.7K. But anyway, I've got it in the holes, and now I'm getting ready to tack it down. All right, moment of truth. I've got it temporarily buttoned up, got it plugged in, speaker is connected. Yeah, okay, so the indicator light is showing up. It's not quite as bright as it was to begin with, but you know, I've also upped the resistance quite a bit. That's weird. Okay, so this is new. Interesting. Having fixed the indicator lamp, I have introduced a feedback loop. And a shock. Interesting. Well, the plot thickens. Okay, I didn't put in all the screws to ground the thing. Maybe there's something weird with that, but that was weird. Getting a shock through the tone knob and also having the high frequency squeal. That don't make no sense. All right, diagnostics continue. This just got interesting. Okay, so I took it back over to the bench, put in all of the screws to make sure that the board was nicely attached and grounded. Did put the clip back on the EL84. I put the dials back on. And the squeal is gone. I don't know what caused the feedback squeal. There could have been an issue with not only grounding, but also holding the card so it wouldn't vibrate from feedback. I know the 12AX7 can have a microphonic feedback. I don't know if that's what the case was here, but yeah, that was very, very strange, very odd. And I didn't like getting shocked either. But yeah, looks like this guy's good and solid now. Well, at this stage, the Crate V5 has become a serviceable amp. Got the problem with the indicator light fixed, and there doesn't really seem to be any other major issues with it. Now, the tone control is kind of strange, but these amps, according to what I've read online, they have kind of a strange tone control. Please let me know if you are familiar with this amp. Is the kind of behavior I'm experiencing where it seems to roll off the high end, but once you get past that 12 o'clock position, it really doesn't do anything. It doesn't accentuate the high end at all. I don't know if that's normal or not. Another issue that I found with it is that it does appear someone has revoiced the EL84. According to the schematic, I should see a 330 ohm resistor and a 100 microfarad capacitor connecting the cathode to ground. I should also see a 470 ohm resistor connecting the screen to the B+ supply. What's on this circuit board is a little different. I see a 470 ohm resistor and a 25 microfarad capacitor connecting the cathode to ground. And the screen resistor has just been replaced with a jumper. That put this into triode configuration, meaning that the amp is going to be a lot more quiet when it's wide open. Maybe that's what the person wanted who owned this amp before. They also traded out the original speaker for this horrible 6x9 car stereo speaker. I don't know. Maybe they were trying to get some tube-like distortion at a much, much lower volume. For right now, I've got a 10-inch speaker on order to put back into the original cabinet. I may, at some point in the future, tweak the value on that EL84 to put it back into a pentode configuration and get a little bit more volume out of the thing. Anyway, do let me know your thoughts on some improvements that could be made to this thing. Let me know if it sounds good as is. I know I only played it a little bit, but I do appreciate your comments and your suggestions. So until next time, I will check you guys later.